Hi everyone and welcome back to You Know Who. I'm your host, the Last Angry Geek. Now this week's episode of Doctor Who was written by Neil Gaiman. Neil's a respected novelist who's written several comic book series, most notably DC's The Sandman. It may surprise some of you who know my other show that I've never been a huge fan of Neil's comic book work. Isn't that right, me who hosts comic book issues? Hey, this is my time. Piss off! God, what a jerk. No wonder nobody watches his shows. Oh. I am, however, a big fan of Neil's novels. I think everyone should read American Gods. So when I found out Neil was writing an episode of Doctor Who, naturally the bar was set pretty high. Did it pay off? Let's find out as we review The Doctor's Wife here on You Know Who. We open with a young woman named Idris being led through a junkyard. As a pair of humans, Uncle and Auntie, watch, an Ood named Nephew erases her soul. We then cut to the Doctor boasting about his exploits to Rory, who doesn't believe a word until Amy confirms it. All three are surprised by a knocking at the TARDIS door. The Doctor opens the doors to find a small white cube floating in space. It's a psychic distress call from a TARDIS, bearing the mark of a Time Lord called the Corsair. And as there are no more Time Lords in the universe, the Doctor sends the TARDIS outside of the universe and hurtling towards a small green asteroid. Upon landing, the power drains out of the TARDIS, which the Doctor equates to the TARDIS's soul vanishing. We then hear a materialization noise as Idris starts leaking time energy. The trio enter the largest junkyard this side of Labyrinth and are met by the erratic Idris as she shouts, "Thief! Thief!" and runs to the Doctor, chased by Auntie, Uncle, and Nephew. Idris claims the Doctor is going to steal her before biting him.
Biting's excellent. It's like kissing, only there's a winner.
She tells the Doctor the little boxes will make him angry. Idris passes out and the Doctor repairs the Ood's message sphere. The group hears multiple Time Lords calling out for help. Auntie tells the Doctor that House is the name of this world, and asks if they'd like to meet him. The Doctor realizes House is a sentient asteroid, and somewhere on him are multiple Time Lords. It's then that House speaks through Auntie and Uncle.
Breathe his air, eat his food.
Smell its armpits.
And do my will. You are most welcome.
Man, that's an intimidating voice. House is voiced by actor Michael Sheen. Can we see a picture of him? That's not very intimidating. Better, but can we show something a little scarier? It's the ghost of Alan Cumming! House tells the Doctor that occasionally time travelers come through the rift, and he repairs them. House mentions its fondness for Time Lords, but the Doctor lets him know he is the last. No more Time Lords will ever come through the rift. Meanwhile, Idris starts spouting seemingly random statements before screaming for her thief. And Amy questions how the Doctor will tell the Corsair and any other Time Lords about the destruction of Gallifrey.
You want to be forgiven.
Don't we all?
The Doctor sends Amy and Rory back to the TARDIS for his sonic screwdriver. Once inside, a green smoke surrounds the ship. Amy calls the Doctor and we see he has the screwdriver and uses it to lock them in the TARDIS. The Doctor stumbles onto a small cabinet filled with the Time Lord distress beacons. He realizes the Time Lords who came here are all dead. Auntie and Uncle face his wrath and we see the Corsair's arm attached to Auntie. This is how House keeps them alive, with organ transplants from his victims.
You gave me hope and then you took it away. That's enough to make anyone dangerous. God knows what it will do to me.
The Doctor remembers Idris warning him about this and he confronts her, and she tells him they know each other. She makes a materialization noise and tells him the story of how they met in a museum, and he understands that she's the TARDIS. Through a back and forth conversation, he realizes House eats TARDISes. But since destroying a Matrix would destroy House, it pulled the Matrix out and stuck it in Idris. The Doctor calls Amy and tells her to get out, but the TARDIS dematerializes with Amy and Rory trapped inside. House has possessed the TARDIS and questions why it should let them live. Meanwhile, Auntie and Uncle let the Doctor know that House is heading into the universe to find more food. Then they drop dead. TARDIS's body is dying, burning out trying to contain her essence. A desperate Doctor decides to use parts from the junked TARDISes to build a new ship. Aboard House, Amy can't think of a reason why they should live and turns it over to Rory. Rory understands that House is sadistic. It likes to make people suffer, and a quick death won't entertain him. House tells them to run, and they head off. As Amy and Rory struggle with the pitfalls and closed doors House throws in their way, the TARDIS and the Doctor bicker like an old married couple.
You know, you have never been very reliable.
And you have?
You didn't always take me where I wanted to go.
No, but I always took you where you needed to go.
Amy and Rory get separated. Amy goes around and finds Rory, who's been waiting at the door for hours. They realize House is toying with them. They get separated again, and this time Rory is an insane old man, having been left alone and tortured by House for decades. The lashed-up TARDIS isn't working. It has no power, but TARDIS reminds the Doctor that she has all the power he'll ever need, and with a touch, off they go. Amy then comes upon some disturbing graffiti. House. Which house is it? The Overlook. No, that was a hotel. The house from Psycho. No, that wasn't haunted. The Amityville Horror. Yeah, that's it. It's the house from the Amityville Horror. Amy finds Rory's corpse and breaks down. But a still living Rory comes upon her and they reunite. The Doctor asks TARDIS to send a message to Amy. TARDIS asks if that's the pretty one, but it's Rory who ends up getting the message. They have to lower House's shields. As they head towards an alternate control room, the lights go out for Amy but not Rory. Rory goes to check on a noise and then calls to Amy, but as the blinded pawn walks forward, we see Rory knocked out on the floor. She then touches a handful of tendrils. Nephew is on board House. TARDIS beams the password to Rory, and Amy realizes you have to think it for the telepathic circuits to open the doors. As Nephew gets closer and closer, Amy manages to trigger the doors, and we're led into the previous control room. They lower the shields, and just as Nephew is going to get them, the Doctor and TARDIS materialize, accidentally disintegrating Nephew. TARDIS collapses, close to death, and the Doctor tricks House into ejecting the control room, but emergency procedures slide the quartet into the main control room, where TARDIS leaves her flesh body behind and reintegrates with the ship, burning out House. Using the last of her mortal life, TARDIS and the Doctor say goodbye. Later, after creating a new bedroom for Amy and Rory...
Doctor, this time could we lose the bunk beds?
No, bunk beds are cool. A bed with a ladder. You can't beat that.
It's your room.
Alone with his TARDIS flying through space and time, the Doctor has the time of his life. There's no doubt going into this that the expectations were pretty high, so did they pay off? Let's take a look where the Doctor's wife was a joyful union and other instances where they should have asked for a trial separation. First off, the bad. The family on the asteroid. I have to wonder why only Idris had a name and the rest were referred to by titles. Although they have a few good lines, they seem a little overstaffed. This probably could have been played with one part. Also, did we really need an Ood for this? Hey, I love the Ood, but you have to wonder if Gaiman's script called for one specifically, or they just threw an Ood in there because they had the costume ready to go. The part just seemed right for a generic monster and not Ood specific. And Saran Jones seemed to be channeling her inner Helena Bonham Carter for this look. Previously, she played the Mona Lisa come to life on the Sarah Jane Adventures, in what was, sadly, not a very good episode. She's not great in this part, she's mostly impersonating Matt Smith. I would have liked to see the TARDIS a little more icy than sentimental. She's not bad per se, just not unique, which is what the TARDIS needed to be. Oh, and Rory's dead again. Look, can we just buy him a red shirt and get on with our lives already? Now, there's a lot of good things in this episode. To clarify, just in case nobody got it, the TARDIS is the Doctor's wife. Gaiman uses the term wife as a metaphor. They're partners, and like a married couple, they fight, flirt, and team up to accomplish things. Gaiman's script is really a clever mix of Doctor Who, Toy Story, and the Harlan Ellison story, I Have No Mouth, But I Must Scream. That's about a sentient computer that tortures the last living humans. The Toy Story element is being able to have a conversation with something inanimate, imagining it has feelings and you can express just how much it means to you. House is a wonderfully scary villain. The torture it perpetrates on Amy and Rory is cruel and just a little bit sick, separating the pair and then having Amy move through in real time while Rory is forced to wait through those moments at much longer intervals. The torture is purely psychological but hurts them both. This is also the first story this season not to hammer home the plot points. Yes, the Doctor's death is mentioned, but then quickly shelved. There's no signs of Nurse Ratched. Gaiman just gets about telling his story. There are also some genuinely funny moments, like the TARDIS calling herself sexy due to the Doctor's penchant for that nickname. There are even a few good one-liners.
You're right, I really don't know what to do. That's a new feeling.
Gaiman also manages to tie this into the Doctor's past history and blend the old show mythology with the new shows effortlessly. Getting to see how the Doctor stole the TARDIS from its point of view adds a new layer to how he left Gallifrey. But also in the episode we see how badly the Doctor still hurts at having destroyed the Time Lords during the Time War. I've also come to realize that the best moments of Matt Smith's Doctor Who are going to be different from the best moments of David Tennant's Doctor Who series. For instance, in episodes like Blink and The Girl in the Fireplace, the best moments were based on fear or extreme pathos. Here, with Matt Smith, it goes right back to his first appearance when he shot at Geronimo. The best moments are based on adventure. Matt Smith's Doctor Who is at its best when he's facing extreme danger, certain death, and he just laughs and has the time of his life. And there's a big moment like that when he's flying his new makeshift Tardis through time and space. This one's a no-brainer, folks. 5 out of 5 Tardises. This is easily the best episode of the season and the benchmark by which we're going to measure the rest of this season. Now I'll be back in 2 weeks with a review of a new 2-parter, Doctor Who, The Rebel Flesh and the Almost People. I'll see you then on You Know Who.